All right.
Nobody wants to hear.
Part 3, we were just talking about H.H. Goddard and how he invented the IQ test, and I was just saying to Leah that there are several very intelligent people that actually don't score well on the IQ test.
Well, now, here's
it's
the
a
thing.
misnomer that
According to
official.
H.H. Goddard, if you do not score well on the IQ test, you are not fit to reproduce. Da, 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 along with the collective, along with the education system, here comes this thing when we realize that we're the collective. Then all of a sudden, then we have to control how people are, who's born. Have you ever heard of Adolf Hitler? White supremacy? And,
well, you know
and
what,
not even white supremacy, because they wanted to kill off a bunch of stupid white people.
This is not that far-fetched, because we as farmers understand that when you are breeding animals, you find traits that you desire in one animal and you breed it with another animal with traits that you desire as well, even if that requires inline breeding. And the other ones are not allowed to reproduce because you do not desire those traits. So that is where they have come up with this, because now they're treating humans as animals.
We don't eat humans, that's why we don't kill them.
Well, and that's why we don't selectively breed them.
And yeah, exactly. So men like Goddard, Henry Hubert Goddard, was born in 1866. He was one of the major influences of modern education system we have today. Okay, so do you want to read this here?
I do. 1907, Indiana Eugenics law. By late 1800s, Indiana authorities believed criminality, mental problems, and pauperism, that just means being poor, were hereditary. Being poor is hereditary. Various laws were enacted based on this belief. In 1907, Governor J. Frank Hanley approved first state eugenics law, making sterilization mandatory for certain individuals in state custody. Sterilizations halted 1909 by Governor Thomas R. Marshall. Well done, Mr. Marshall.
We've had 100 years of craziness, you guys. Seriously. Okay. Goddard and many other change agents supported eugenics. He is responsible for all that name calling at school. Thank him for ever being called a moron, an idiot, or an imbecile. At the May 18th, 1910 annual meeting of the American Association for the Study of the Feeble-Minded, Goddard proposed definitions for a system of classifying individuals with mental retardation based on the IQ test. So I'm serious about him making up these terms. Goddard used the terms moron, he made this, for those with an IQ of 51 to 70, imbecile for those with an IQ of 26 to 50, and idiot for those with an IQ of 0 to 25. So if you really want to call people the worst name, it's idiot, then imbecile, and then if you just kind of think somebody's kind of stupid, call them a moron. I do not advocate that. I'm using hyperbole right here. All right. This nomenclature was the standard of the field for decades. A moron, by his definition, was any person with the mental age between 8 and 12. Morons, according to Goddard, were unfit for society and should be removed from society. Literally removed. Either through institutionalization, sterilization, or preferably both. What Goddard failed to see was that his bias against morons would greatly influence his data later. And I wanted you to see this. That criminal, civil insane. Criminals have shorter, broader, higher heads, lighter skin color, more woolly, less frizzy hair, higher, wider, more sloping foreheads, thicker eyebrows, longer, narrow faces and noses, shorter ears, less pronounced, and it literally, I'm not kidding you, defined criminals by their faces. And so...
And being black.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Eugenics, here's this wonderful eugenics tree. As you can see, like a tree. This is...
and y'all just need to know, we're going to insert this here. Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood are all tied up into this web.
Right, exactly. So, Americans want to think the dark side of their eugenics history is ended, but it's not. In reality, it was passed on to every portion of the public school system. Every portion of the public school system.
But Leah, how can that be?
Eugenics in America. So you've got the triangle of life here. Environment, education, heritage. what you are, what you have, what you do. You can improve your education, you can even change your environment, but what you really are was all settled when your parents were born. Selected parents will have better children. This is the great aim of eugenics. Unfit human traits such as feeble-mindedness, epilepsy, being a criminal, insanity, alcoholism, being poor, and many others run in families, and they are inherited in the exact same way as color in guinea pigs. If all marriages were eugenic, we could breed out most of this unfitness in 3 generations. They literally believe this, high minds across the globe. And so you've got Hitler as like the essence of what happened, but we had huge eugenics in this this country as well. Now I want you to read what today's universities say about a man who prompted recommendations of forced sterilization and segregation of the feeble-minded in isolated colonies, but no worries. His ideas of segregation, racism, and sterilization are to be ignored. Yeah, these are your university professors who say, and he was a really great guy. This is Henry, let's see, Henry Goddard made substantial, okay. The university professor said this about Henry Goddard.
Ohio University, yay, Ohio, where we're from. Henry Goddard made substantial contributions to American education, including the popularizing of mental testing, compulsory special education, and gifted education. His research into the hereditary nature of feeble-mindedness and related eugenics activities, however, has helped to paint the rather negative picture many people continue to hold of Goddard and his work. Leah says,
yeah, he went on to become a professor at Ohio University, and many of his teachings are in use today. Public school eugenics at its finest. Now, I want you to try to take a look at this. It says that some people are born to be a burden to the rest. You want to try to read some of this?
All right, this light flashes every 15 seconds. $100 of your money goes for the care of persons with bad hereditary, such as the insane, feeble-minded, criminals, and other defectives.
Yeah.
Defectives. This light flashes every 16 seconds. Every 16 seconds, a person is born in the United States. This light flashes every 7.5 minutes. Every 7.5 minutes, a high-grade person is born in the United States, will have the ability to do creative work and be fit for leadership. About 4% of all Americans come within this class.
Only 4% of Americans they wanted, and they still do want. So her sterilization would cost $150.
So they're saying that this Ada Juke, whatever, 1740, she would have 64 mentally diseased people, 174 sexual perverts, 196 illegitimates, 142 paupers, and 77 criminals and murderers.
But her sterilization would only have cost $150. I'm serious, you guys. All right, so the Correspondence School of Gospel and Scientific Eugenics. You can just read the title there. An educational movement
For illegitimate parenthood.
intelligence.
Oh, excuse me. That's okay. Parenthood through correspondence. 6 civilized nations represented in this school. Over 3,000 students studying the course in this school.
I'm not kidding you, you guys. All of this goes against the laws of nature and nature's God, and it stems from Darwinism in the 19th century. When you look at the Darwinic books, that it literally says that, and if any of you believe this, check yourself, that the black people were the first, and then they evolved into like Native Americans, and then into like the Chinese, and finally to the white man. I'm not even kidding you. It's in Darwin's book on evolution.
And what she's saying there is that they come straight from apes.
Right. Exactly. So,
But if they evolved, then why are they still around?
so
That's
as the
question.
nation wandered farther and farther away from God, they had to find ways to explain the universe. Darwin's theories of evolution fit right in with eugenics at the time, and the desire of atheists to remove all knowledge of God and the Bible from the hearts and the minds of godly men and women going about their daily lives, enjoying their families and their hard work, regardless of whether you want to be an atheist. Recognize that Christians believe that all men were created by God
Equal. Because if you believe in evolution, then not everybody's equal, and it really is the survival of the fittest, and what Hitler did isn't really wrong, and trying to wipe out the black people isn't really wrong, and that's the problem with evolution, and that's why it's not okay. It's not okay to teach that to your children either.
Right. While president of Harvard from 1933 to 1953, James Bryant Conant wrote
that the change to a forced, rigid, potential destroying education system has been demanded by certain industrialists and the innovative who were altering the nature of the industrial process.
So not everyone was behind it. People could see it. People were speaking out. This James Bryant Conant was saying, listen, certain industrialists have taken you and me and our minds, and they screw bolts on, so they don't want us to be intelligent, at least not the majority of any of us. So you got the Scopes monkey trial. The first public schools used all of these wonderful Christian books that we just talked about, right? Then one teacher wanted to teach the false theory of evolution, and just go with me on the fact that Darwin's theory of evolution, when he used it in saying that certain races are superior to others, I can't go with you there. I'm not going to go with you there. I know some of you want to believe it, but I believe that all men are created equal, and you just need a chance. You just need the same information. You need the same love. You need the same God to help you, and you will be as good as anybody else. All right.
Well, it's already okay, but as far as Darwin goes, it's almost like we can just chuck him. Unfortunately,
most evolutionists chuck Darwin's theories of evolution anyway.
Because of the finches and because of the who was the guy that did the little amoebas and all that, embryos, and that all look the same. And because of the Scopes monkey trial, which was a complete farce,
right,
and false,
so
it's been proven. We know that all of that just needs to be checked.
They brought forth the missing link, and a tooth was said to be both man and ape, but it wasn't. Let's teach evolution then based on a tooth. So evolution is now taught in schools. The tooth was found to be a big pig's molar. That's you can look at the Scopes monkey trial. And okay, so if you have gotten with me this far, I congratulate you. I hope you learned a lot. I sure did in all the research that I've been compiling over the past several years. And I actually was going to do a part 2, but I never quite did. There's a movie, it's called The Indoctrination Nation. Let me give them a trailer.
Have we played this before for them?
No.
We haven't? 90% of Christian parents send their children to public school.
I want to see a child
Many
in
church
every
leaders
public
approve.
school in America who is trained as a witness for Jesus Christ.
When you send that child off to school today, you're sending them into a pagan society.
And the studies are showing that there's virtually no discernible difference between the church and the world. At what point is Southern Baptists going to rise up and say, enough is enough?
Whatever we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation.
We've got to do something different. The schools are failing.
I would go to 6 or 7 days a week, not just Monday through Friday.
You're not going to be painting, okay? You're going to be writing down whatever comes to your mind when you hear the word gay or when you hear the word lesbian.
So nothing's right or wrong
There is
in
no
this
right
either?
That's right.
They are stealing our children. But because they are leaving the body of the child with us, we don't even know it's happening.
If I had my way, government education would be brought to a halt.
Trying to fix public education is like trying to teach a pig how to dance. You get dirty and the pig gets mad. Turning your children.
There's John Taylor Gatto. We're always talking about it.
And having those strangers work on your child's mind, it's a mad idea.
Public schools have become a criminal enterprise.
Parents are willing to admit that there are these problems and yet believe that their children will somehow escape. They won't.
And it may have taken a school shooting to wake us up, to see the danger, but that's a very small danger compared to all the other things that go on that can destroy our children.
His son was killed at Columbine.
A teacher is in trouble for bringing a religion into his classroom, but should he lose his job?
When we go into a public school, we have to leave God at the door. It just came to the point where
I couldn't do that anymore.
Jesus said, build your house upon the rock, but the foolish man refused the words of Christ, would not build their education systems on the fear of God, on the words of Christ.
Everything exists to proclaim the glory of God. And the one place where we send our kids 7 hours a day is a place where God's name can't be mentioned. It's not indoctrination, it's insanity.
So that's one of our favorite indoctrination movies to give to all of our friends. And not everybody who we've gifted to has started a homeschool.
Don't tell
Given
them.
it to?
You said gift.
Gifted. I said given.
Okay.
I said given it to.
Okay, I misheard you.
But many people have decided to. I think that mostly Christians are going to get something out of this. Mostly, if you're not a Christian, you might not get a lot out of it, but there'll still be some things you question, because they go through the whole foundation of the public school system. And
we're not giving away the birth control movie yet.
Dear God. Our Catholic friends, me, I'll take it. All 10 of you. So anyways.
It's a good movie, go find it.
Yeah. Birth control, the movie. Anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking with us with this Rockefeller Public School Indoctrination Nation. I hope that you got something out of it, and we hope that we can open up a dialogue. Obviously, you're not going to agree with our whole take on it, but to be able to see that, like with GMOs, it's kind of like, listen, yeah, sometimes I eat corn chips. They got GMOs in them, but I know that GMOs are bad for me. So just knowing that the whole curriculum and the whole foundation of a modern education and the idea that the compulsoriness of it, I really, this is where my heart is. If there's one area of the resistance where my heart is, this is it. Because I know that millions of kids are going into a building where God isn't allowed, where God used to be praised. Where God used to be praised and
not only that,
loved.
but the public school is integral to the breakdown of the family unit.
Oh, sure.
And that is integral to the breakdown of our society and to the winning of the one world government. It's all tied together.
The one world government only works
if the family unit is broken.
And the collective, if you're part of the collective mind. Now, many of you are getting yourself out. You're getting your kids out. I know lots of people who educate their kids outside of public school. Do that. Do whatever you can. I know a lot of people who've never heard of homeschooling or anything like that. If you need some help, if you need resources, we want to be here for you because we can help you in any country that you're at. I can help you find, except for Germany. You know why? Because you're not allowed. I'm sorry. It's actually illegal because they still want to keep you Heil Hitler. So
I want to clarify when I say the breakdown of the family unit, I don't even, of course I mean the literally breakdown of the family unit, but I mean a mother and a father that both have to go to work and a child that is now educated, like John Taylor Gatto said, by the public school system all day long. That is a breakdown of the family unit because the family unit used to be a core unit. So also Miss Marlene's notes are still sitting here on our desk, and so I want to remind you guys that I have this P.O. box paid for the next 2 months. So if you want to leave us any written comments that you would like us to read I think that's how I'm going to weed it out, because a lot of you guys ask questions and leave comments. So I'm going to try to weed out those that can be submitted to either the email address that we have listed or the written comments that get sent in the mail. Those are the ones that we will
put the address.
I'll put it in the description. And I'll go back and do that so you don't have to.
Okay.
So anyway, so if you guys want to submit questions or comments, not just on this subject, but on any subject, I want to remind you, but we would love to open up a dialogue and bring this back again.
We're not upset with anybody who sends their kids to public school. I just want you to know. Know about the Federal Reserve. Just know.
Because we have
about
another viewer, you guys may have seen her, and it's no secret because she comments. Her name is Amber Powell. She is a fantastic, beautiful woman of God, very well informed. If you see her comments, read them, seek her out, ask her questions. She sends her children to public school. But you know what she said to me? She said, Michelle, I educate my children outside of the public school system. She makes sure that her children are given the knowledge that they need and that they're unbrainwashed from the brainwashing of the public school. You have to at least start there. Okay?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, you guys, this is, thanks for staying with us. We've had an enjoyable evening, if you can't tell.
Say that.
Yeah.
I educate my kid outside. And some viewers was like, I don't know why I'm sending my kid to public school. All they learn is repeat, regurgitate, go. Repeat, regurgitate, go.
Right.
You know? And I'd love to share with you guys some of my own, because we were in public school and we were homeschooled. I mean, we could literally get our homeschooling done in under 3 hours.
Right.
And Michelle did 3 years in 1 year. I did.
That's another long story.
They put me in developmental first grade because I didn't go to kindergarten. I was a year behind everyone else. Then my mom pulled me out. I tested out of 2 grades by being homeschooled. So then I wanted to go back to public school. I went back for 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I learned worse things than I ever did. I didn't learn anything of any value. My biology teacher literally was the worst. I think this was my worst educational experience.
I wish you could call out her name.
My biology teacher, what she would do, and I got D's, and I couldn't understand why are we all, the whole class was like failing. What's going on? So she wanted to be like a college professor. So literally she put up on the board, on those little white boards, like little clear things that we used to have. And she said, I'm going to give you guys notes. So she would give us the headline and then the sub things, and we were told to just write them down. What she didn't tell us to do was read the book in between. She didn't teach us anything. I could go and write the titles down from each thing. She didn't teach us anything in there. And so after like the first quarter of everyone failing the test, because she said there was tests on things that she didn't cover. They were in between. So I don't know where she was getting the test from or whatever. So we had to bribe her to do some after school study. We pretty much brainwashed her to give us the answers
to actually
all
do
the
her
tests.
job and to teach.
And she told us all the questions that would be on the test so we could go figure out, okay, this is what we're supposed to be learning, right? And what she never told anybody to do was read the darn book. Because we didn't, and so that was just a horrible experience. And another experience I had was my history class in 8th grade. I was getting a few bad grades and I couldn't understand why. And I asked my teacher, everybody's having a really hard time with this history teacher. And her tests were really hard. And so she's like, well, stay after class the day before the test. I daggone cheated. I just will tell you, what she would do is she would give you she literally gave you the questions and the answers to the test. And like you had 3 different essays.
It's not cheating if you just memorize the answers. That's what public school is. That's not cheating.
She would give you 3 different essays that might be on there. And so you would just memorize the 3 different essays and there would just be one. And so I got straight A's the entire class. Everyone in class.
That's not cheating.
Everyone in class looked at me funny. Like, oh my gosh, how come? I'm like, just stay after school. So me and this other girl would stay after school. And I remember at the end of the year, she's like, Leah, you really should take like an AP, like college course on history. Because she's like, you're so good. I'm like, no, I'm not. You give me the answers to the test the day before.
But you memorized them.
I just memorized them. I didn't learn anything. I just memorized them. So these are the failings of the system.
And this goes back a ways. We won't tell you how many years, but it goes back a few years.
Not to mention,
it's gotten worse.
There's so many bullying.
All right,
craziness.
We need to sign off here. You guys have stuck with us so long. We love you guys. God bless. This is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it is not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. And find us on Facebook and Twitter. We promise to come back to you. Actually, half of these videos, you'll be getting them tomorrow anyway. But half for tonight, we will come back tomorrow with other news that is current events. But we've been meaning to cover this for a while, so we did it.
Rockefeller died.
Rockefeller died. That's current news.
Ding dong, the witch
is dead. The wicked witch.
The Rockefeller witch.
Ding dong, the Rockefeller witch is dead. Okay.
I think it's more like the Lord in Star Trek. What is his name? The real bad guy.
In Star Wars.
Star Wars.
The Emperor.
Yeah.
The Emperor is dead.
More like that, of the wicked empire.
Cold, all alone, no place for home, every day, so afraid, but you caught my